Alright, this is Nakdimon again. This is my response to Shadid Lewis' attempt to meet my challenge to explain Surah 5 verse 75 in light of his own explanation, of his own reading. Now let's see what Shadid has made of his video. Now, I wonder if I even need to address this video because as far as I'm concerned, this horse is already dead and buried, so no need to beat on it any longer. The puppy went to sleep and is already tucked in, and the fat lady has already sung and left the stage. But just for the heck of it, I'll go with the program. Let's see how Shadid keeps undermining his previous statements.
Alright, let us get straight to the issue here. In this challenge that he made to me, he wants to focus particularly on verse 75 of chapter 5. The mistake that he made, and I told him already in the previous video, is that he claims that verse 75 is a continuation of verse 73, which is talking about the Trinity, and that is not the case.
Shadid, if verse 75 is not a continuation of verse 73, then please do tell us where the topic shifted between 73 and 75. Verse 73 complains about people making Allah the third of a Trinity. Verse 74 tells those people in verse 73 to repent, and verse 75 tells us those in verse 73 and 74 that they have been given clear signs to the contrary of what they claim about Allah, yet they have turned away from that. It is as simple as that. The whole section is about associating with Allah. It is talking about the same people. It is the same context, yet according to you, it's about completely different subjects. Sure, this is what you said earlier on Pal Talk.
That's not talking about the Trinity. They are the people who say that God is a three, Nakdemon. My friend, can't you tell the context? Can't you see the context that's being used here? The they in verse 73 is talking about the disbelievers. Verse 75 uses they twice. One, they, meaning they used to eat food, is referring to Jesus and his mother. And then it says, see how we make the messages clear to them. Who's them, my friend? Them is the people who disbelieve in verse 73. They who when it says see how we make the messages clear to them, it's not clear to Jesus and his mother, it's clear to them who disbelieve, going back to the context of verse 73.
So you have already admitted that verse 75 is talking about the same people as in verse 73. So therefore verse 75 must be a continuation of verse 73, since there is nothing that indicates that the subject has been changed from 73 through 75. Even according to you, the sign is that Mary and Yeshua both were ordinary people since they ate food. This is what you admitted in your so-called rebuttal to me.
And then the next part of the verse that he takes issue with is after Allah stating that Mary is a truthful woman, that they both used to eat food. According to him, this is showing that, again, he thinks that it's referring to the Trinity, that Mary is not part of the Trinity, and therefore, so she both used to eat food. No, what this is referring to is that they both used to eat food, that they were ordinary people. And since the context of this verse is dealing with Jesus not being God, but only a messenger of God, this is in the context showing that they both used to eat food, that they were ordinary people. So therefore, Mary, being a normal woman, gave birth to a normal man. Not that she is negated from being a member of the Trinity, but that Jesus was born from her. She was just a regular woman, so therefore Jesus had to be a regular man. That's the issue that is being addressed here, and that is the sign that Jesus is not God because he was born from a normal woman. This is not addressing Mary being part of the Trinity. It is addressing the context that Jesus is not God, and so his mother, being a normal woman, obviously had to give birth to a normal child, not a God child.
But that is what you denied before on Pal Talk, and laid out a fascinating criterion about what the text should have said if it was attacking the divinity of Mary and was a refutation of the Trinity.
When you get to verse 75, he is just talking about the ordinary nature of Jesus. That Jesus was the Messiah, son of Mary. He was only a messenger. Notice he doesn't say, and Mary, she wasn't a God. Notice why doesn't he say that? So your argument is a failed argument. Because he would have, if he was trying to negate Mary being part of the Trinity, he would have to address that and say, well, why does he address Jesus only being a messenger? Why doesn't he say anything about Mary? Why does he say anything about Mary? How can he say, and Mary was not, she was just a woman? You see? You see what I'm saying? Why doesn't he say that? Why doesn't he say, and Mary was just a woman? Jesus was just a messenger, and Mary was just an ordinary woman. If the verse is claiming to deny the Trinity there. No, it doesn't.
So according to you, if verse 75 was attacking the divinity of Mary and therefore was a refutation of the Trinity, it should have mentioned that Mary was just an ordinary woman, which is exactly what you confirmed in your so-called rebuttal. Let's hear that again.
This is in the context showing that they both used to eat food, that they were ordinary people. So therefore, Mary, being a normal woman, gave birth to a normal man.
Thus, it attacks the divinity of both Jesus and Mary, since the argument is that they both, not just Jesus, but both used to eat food, which according to the Quran shows that they are both ordinary people. Therefore, you inadvertently confirmed my reading. The fact that you keep contradicting yourself, saying in one place that it has nothing to do with Mary being just human, and in another place saying that it is about Mary being just human, is not of my concern. It just shows that you are all over the place because your reading makes no sense.
If we take a look at the context of these verses dealing with Jesus, starting at verse 72, not verse 73, but starting at verse 72, the issue that Allah is addressing is that there are some disbelievers who say that Jesus is God, or that God is Jesus, right? So it says, certainly they disbelieve who say, Allah, He is the Messiah, son of Mary. And the Messiah said, O children of Israel, serve Allah, my Lord and your Lord. Surely whoever associates others with Allah, Allah has forbidden to him the garden, and his abode is the fire. And for the wrongdoers there will be no helpers. So notice how Allah addresses what they say. He clarifies that Jesus is not God. And then he gives the recompense or the punishment for those who make such a statement. And then stop. It ends. So he says, he deals with it, and then he ends it by saying this is the punishment for those who say that, and stop. Then he now moves to another subject matter, dealing with another's. Certainly they disbelieve who say this, that Allah is the third of the three, and there is no God but one God, and if they desist not from what they say, a painful chastisement will surely befall such of them as disbelieve. Will they not then turn to Allah, verse 74, and ask for his forgiveness, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Stop. So now he addresses another saying, that there are some who disbelieve that say that God is three. Again, notice the verse does not mention who the three. It doesn't say Jesus is part of the three. It doesn't say Mary is part of the three. It doesn't say what the three. It just says that they say that they are three, and they are wrong. You see, as I told you before in the last video, this is ingenious that Allah doesn't say what the Trinity is. He leaves it open because, as we already pointed out, there were different beliefs among the Christians. There were some people, in fact, who did claim that Mary was a member, and there was this type of membership with God, Jesus, and Mary. But Allah doesn't say what it is. He just says those who are three. So this covers everybody. Whether you believe Mary was a member of the Trinity, whether you believe that the Trinity is Father, Son, Holy Ghost, whether you believe that the Trinity is made up of some other, membership, it covers it all. So Allah doesn't fall into this box of only stating one belief in the Trinity. He leaves it open, and therefore it covers it. Just don't say there's three, because there is no three. No matter what you believe the three are, Allah is telling you there is no three, no matter what you believe it is. So it's left open. So this is ingenious that it's left like that, so that way it covers all the beliefs of Trinity, no matter what you have, or no matter how far-fetched or how deviant it is. You see?
No, I don't see. Shadid, we have already dealt with that. It isn't called ingenious, it's called telling. The author didn't know what he was talking about. You demand an explicit statement from Allah that says Mary, God, and Yeshua are part of the Trinity, which doesn't exist. But you don't have an explicit statement from Allah yourself to support your own reading. Thus you are being inconsistent and a hypocrite, since you try to hold me to one standard, but then quickly do a 180 when it comes to supporting your own reading with an explicit statement, and won't touch that same standard with a 10-foot pole yourself. Why is that, Shadid? Because if you would hold yourself to the same standard, your reading wouldn't be valid according to your own criteria either. That's why.
So now, as we show you, it stops. He gives clarifies it, says that Allah is not three, and he gives the punishment for those who say that, and stop. Now verse 75. Verse 75 is not connected to verse 73 talking about the Trinity. This now goes back to Jesus not being God.
Wait, did Shadid just say that verse 75 doesn't refer back to verse 73 but to verse 72? Let's remind Shadid of his own words. He's contradicting himself again.
My friend, can't you tell the context? Can't you see the context that's being used here? The they in verse 73 is talking about the disbelievers. Verse 75 uses they twice. One, they, meaning they used to eat food, is referring to Jesus and his mother. And then it says, see how we make the messages clear to them. Who's them, my friend? Them is the people who disbelieve in verse 73. The they who, when it says, see how we make the messages clear to them, it's not clear to Jesus and his mother. It's clear to them who disbelieve, going back to the context of verse 73. Can't you see the context that's being used here? Can't you see the context that's being used here?
Now verse 75. Verse 75 is not connected to verse 73 talking about the Trinity.
Them is the people who disbelieve in verse 73. The they who, when it says, see how we make the messages clear to them, it's not clear to Jesus and his mother. It's clear to them who disbelieve, going back to the context of verse 73.
So what was that all about? First you say that verse 73 through 75 are the same context. You didn't even mention verse 72. Now you change your mind. Shadid, who are they in verse 75? Because the they in verse 74 is none other than verse 73, which you yourself also admitted earlier, which makes verse 74 a continuation of verse 73, as you yourself admitted.